If you grew up in the 80s, you remember, fashion wasn't just loud, it was a full-blown performance. And every bizarre trend you once rolled your eyes at probably ended up in your closet anyway. Let's start with the one piece of clothing that was practically a uniform. Oversized leather motorcycle jackets. Even if you'd never been near a motorcycle, chances are you had a black leather jacket. Oversized, boxy, and preferably with way too many zippers. It was cool, it was rebellious, it was mandatory. The look said, I could cause trouble, even if the most rebellious thing you'd done that week was rent an R-rated movie. Michael Jackson wore one in Thriller, Tom Cruise wore one in Top Gun. And those jackets, they weren't fitted. They hung off your shoulders like armor. Pair it with some acid-wash jeans and a cool t-shirt, boom, you were ready for anything. Acid-wash jeans. Speaking of those jeans, acid-wash jeans weren't just denim. They were a science experiment gone glam. Spotted, streaked, and sometimes bleached beyond recognition. These jeans made it look like your washing machine had a nervous breakdown. But they were everywhere. Whether it was Guess, Jordache, or some pair you begged your mom to buy at the mall, acid wash took over closets fast. Skinny, baggy, pegged, you name it. If your jeans didn't look like they'd been attacked by a bottle of chlorine, were you even in the 80s? Sure, parents complained they looked dirty on purpose, but that was kind of the point. They were rebellious. A little punk, a little pop, and a whole lot of attitude. The Walkman as a fashion accessory. Now technically, the Walkman played music, but if you were around in the 80s, you know it doubled as a major fashion statement. A belt-clipped Sony Walkman, bright yellow or silver, with those iconic foam headphones perched perfectly over your hair, that was a look. People strutted down sidewalks like they were in their own personal music video. You didn't just listen to tunes, you projected vibes. Fast walking through the mall with Madonna blasting in your ears, you were basically living in your own montage scene. The Walkman said, I'm busy, I'm cool, and I've got killer taste in mixtapes. MTV Inspired Fashion chaos. MTV didn't just change how we listened to music, it completely detonated the rules of fashion. Suddenly, teens and 20-somethings were raiding their closets like they were on a dare. Layered mesh tops, lace gloves, denim on denim, ripped tees over neon tights. You could thank, or maybe blame, Cyndi Lauper, Madonna, and Duran Duran. It was visual overload. Jewelry over gloves, ties over tank tops, hair teased into the stratosphere. Some said it looked like everyone got dressed in the dark backstage at a concert. And maybe they did, but the fun was in the chaos. MTV didn't ask you to look normal. It dared you to look iconic. Okay, let's pause for a reality check. Have you hit that subscribe button yet? If you're enjoying these trips down memory lane, it's the best way to keep them coming. Think of it like taping your favorite show off the TV. You don't want to miss the good stuff. Thanks. Shoulder pads. Now, for the ladies. If there was one trend that took over everything in the 80s, it was shoulder pads. Blouses, jackets, dresses, even t-shirts came with built-in padding. The idea was power dressing, but some of those pads were so large, you could have landed a plane on them. Still, they meant business. You walked into a boardroom with shoulders like a linebacker and said, yes, I am in charge, thanks for noticing. They were mocked, sure, but for a while, the bigger they got, the more normal they felt. Until one day you saw a photo and thought, wait, was I in the NFL? Reebok Freestyle high tops. Fitness took over the 80s, and no shoe rode that wave harder than the Reebok Freestyle. White, puffy, and Velcro strapped. These high tops were made for aerobics but found their way into everyday life. People wore them with leggings, mini skirts, stirrup pants, you name it. They gave off a sporty, no-nonsense vibe, like, yeah, I could drop into a jazzercise routine right now, but I'm just getting a frozen yogurt. The double straps and high ankle made them instantly recognizable. You probably owned at least 2 colors. Some said they looked orthopedic, maybe, but they worked. Leg warmers. Leg warmers were originally for dancers, but by 1983, they were for everybody. Pulled over jeans, layered with tights, or scrunched down over your sneakers, they were a required accessory. You didn't need to be dancing, you didn't even need cold legs. You just needed style. They came in every color and added the illusion that you might bust into a flash dance routine at any moment. You wore them to school, you wore them to the mall, you wore them to not exercise. Were they necessary? Not really. But neither were most things in the 80s. And that's what made them great. Chic jeans, designer and embellished. Chic wasn't just an adjective in the 80s. It was stitched right onto your jeans, literally. Chic brand jeans were everywhere, especially in department stores. These jeans meant business. They hugged every curve like they were tailor-made, with pockets that sat just right. Whether you were headed to the skating rink or just loitering near the Orange Julius, chic jeans were part of the uniform. And let's not forget that thick embroidered waistband tag. If someone spotted that bold logo above your belt loop, they knew you had taste, and possibly a coupon from Sears. Jane Fonda workout tapes. Before there was the Thigh Master, there was Jane Fonda, and she owned the 80s home fitness scene. Her workout tapes hit shelves in 1982, and suddenly, everyone was sweating in their living rooms on floral carpet. Leotards, shiny tights, leg warmers, and perky ponytails. Exercise had a look, and Jane was the blueprint. The VHS workout craze exploded. Now, not everyone stuck with the program. Sometimes the only thing that got a workout was the rewind button. But those tapes gave people a reason to believe that if you just grapevined hard enough, you too could have buns of steel. Big plastic earrings. And finally, the cherry on top, earrings that could double as frisbees. In the 80s, earrings weren't accessories. They were statements. Big, colorful, geometric, neon, circles, triangles, lightning bolts. If it looked like modern art, it belonged on your ears. No one wore subtle studs. These earrings swung. They matched your Swatch watch, your rubber bracelets, and your jelly shoes. And somehow, despite weighing more than a canned soda, you wore them all day without flinching. Sure, your earlobes protested, but your outfit was complete. So, were these trends strange? Absolutely. But were they iconic? Without question. The 80s weren't afraid to be bold, messy, over the top, and unforgettable. Which one of these fads did you rock back in the day? Drop a comment below, give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.